Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you guys is how to log in as a proctor and what the tickets look like and so forth. So I'll go ahead and log in with the username and password that I was given via the site. First thing it's going to do is have a verification form, your organization here. You need to tell them to click I agree. And then you can search by a specific name. Now, why would you need this? If you have a student who went to sign in and messed up their passcode and got kicked out, you can go ahead and search them very, very quickly. If you know their last name, their first name, their ID, or simply their test status. Anyone that's timed out, occasionally IPs will time out or networks will go down and so forth. Anyone that's finished, not finished, these are your parameters that you can choose from. Okay, so this is how you log in to do that. Now, if I wanted to create student test tickets for all tests, I can choose specific tests if I wanted to. Say, for instance, you have a proctor that's in charge of only the PBMs, PMTs, I forget what they call them, the one that takes this test. You can go ahead and choose that or simply click all tests. Now, once it sets it up, this is a very, very quick run because I only have one student in there. As you have more students and populated, it will take a little bit longer, but this is the actual link to the PDF file that you can give out to your students. So on this particular one, I have to Mary testing today's. It tells her the URL. There's this signature line. This is built into it. This is actually an Avery badge label that has 8 on it. If you wanted to go that far and use badge paper, you can go ahead and do that. The username is here. The passcode is here. Again, it is case sensitive, and they need to be mindful of what's a 0 and what's an O. Clearly that's a 0, but sometimes students don't actually pay attention and see that. And then I can use this credential to go ahead and log in as Mary Testing. Okay. Now, if you want to save these and print them later, you can go ahead and do that. You have complete control over this if you want to go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to search by Mary just so that you can see that she will pop up down on the bottom. You can click right here to quickly get her passcode if there's an issue with it and she's saying it doesn't work or whatever. You can come in there and it will tell you straight up the test status. So if they haven't started the test, it'll say not started. If they're in the midst of the test, it'll say in progress, I believe. If they logged in and finished the test, it'll tell you right in here what those parameters are. It's pretty intuitive. It's very real time. I really like the way that this works out because those students that are trying to sell you a bag of goods, you've got the data right there as the proctor and you can tell them straight out you've been kicked out of the test because you had an invalid password or your test is still active or whatever it is. I mean, sometimes it's very innocent. I'm not going to say that's always malicious, but it is super helpful that you have real-time information here for these students. Now, as the administrator of the district, and a lot of the advisors are the proctors, you can print the tickets more globally for the entire district if you wanted to do that. I know last year we did this and then I sent the PDF files over to each of the schools so that they had it. That'll be up to you guys what you think will work. So if you go into reports as the admin and drag down to proctors, you can go over to student testing tickets and select the division that you want to do for this particular purpose and click next. And then it'll let you separate it by which schools you're in. I'm logged in as Westford Academy, so it's only giving me access to that. Or I can choose all schools, actually. I'm in as an administrator. The reason why that is, take it back. Westford Academy is the only school that actually has any users put into the system. You can do a page break by school or include any that haven't taken a test yet. You have those parameters. And then when you click print, it'll give you testing tickets for all schools as well as the roster. Let me show you the difference. When I click on this report, it's the same one that I showed you earlier. It's student testing tickets that you can go ahead and hand out to the kids as they're testing in your room. If I click on this particular report, essentially it's an attendance sheet and it tells you the participant ID, their name, and you can write in comments and so forth. This is especially helpful at states, but there you go. It's all set up for you for an attendance sheet for the people that are supposed to be in your room. Now you can't customize and send this out as a CSV file that I'm aware of yet. It's kind of get what you get and don't get upset at this point, but it's still very intuitive and helpful. It tells you here's the Avery number if you're going to go all out and actually print them out onto perforated badges that you can give to the kids with their ID and password right there. Now the last thing I'm going to show you guys is reports and tests. Again, you have to be an administrator to have access to this, but you can take a look at a test checking report, statistics according to the test. Right now, I don't really have any tests in the system, but if I wanted to see what was going on with the marketing test, say the kids were complaining that it was a tough test or whatever the case is, you can run a report and look at the actual test. It'll tell you how many got it correct, how many got it incorrect, and so forth, which is pretty awesome. And also under this report, you can go to tests and do results by event. And this is how you're going to be able to see the actual scores real time. As soon as the kid clicks submit, it's going to generate a score for them. I'll click and run the report, and there's nothing to report at this time because there isn't anyone that tested, but it's real time. You can see the scores. You can notice the ones that took the test and quickly came out of it because it will indicate the total time that they took on the test. So those students that take 8 minutes to take the test and get a 22, you're able to isolate those right from the beginning and at least give the advisors a heads up that these kids took 8 minutes on the test and they scored a really low score. But it's also to just indicate, what's going on and see some trends and so forth. Some of these questions are better than others in these preset tests. It's just a good system of checks and balances. And the final thing that I'm going to cover today is what the user interface will look like for the students when they're taking the test. So I put a custom message on here. They need to click submit when they're finished. Sometimes they don't realize that, and it can cause distress because they didn't get a score or whatever. So the user ID for this one, this Mary Tests a Lot one that I set up that's fake, is there. I went ahead and copied the passcode for her, and I'm going to click submit. The first thing that's going to happen here is it's going to ask if you want to save the passcode, but it tells you your member ID, it tells you the event name, okay, and it also tells you to select the test. Now, if something was changed recently, they'll need to refresh the list. So that's not very often used, but it is available to them. Here's the deal. They need to look and make sure that the event name is accurate and that the test that they're supposed to take is also accurate. They go together because this is all set up behind the scenes, but there's occasionally someone that got put into the wrong category. Now's the time to address that and fix it. So make sure that the kids are paying attention to that. Once I click select, it'll give me a start the test option. They need to click that as well. Okay, we all have taught high school kids for a number of years. They don't always read and follow directions. So once they click start the test, it is set up with a timer. It does tell you what the Wi-Fi setting is or the connection speed. Right now it's pretty strong. And we did set up so that the kids have a calculator they can use at any given time during the test. When they take the questions, they do one at a time, next, next, next. Now, some of the kids hate that it's one question at a time. They can skip a question, which I'll go ahead and do. I'm going to pause it for now so you don't have to watch me skip 100 more questions. Hold on. Okay, so I scurried through the test and paused the recording not to bore you. This is what's going to happen once you get to question 100. It's going to tell you in red the questions that you skipped. So we'll give the students an opportunity to go ahead and fix the questions that they skipped, which is pretty cool if they bother to read it, though. They have to scroll down and actually read what it's saying here. But once you click submit test, that's it. You submitted the test, and it will grade it for you real time, give you a message that says that the test has been submitted. Thank you for testing online. And then they have to go ahead and log out. Now, once they've finished a test, they can try to log in again, and it will tell you that it's invalid or that there's a problem with the passcode. essentially, it should say something like they can't get back in. Okay, that is enough for today, I believe. Again, please, please, please ask me if you have any questions. Happy to help any way that I can. We're going to get through this together. You're going to love the software once you have a successful conference with it. Let me know if you need anything. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.